The star blooms. Y'all, my phone is lagging so bad. Pieces to start with the star blooms, okay? I'm gonna get this message out. This is the second go at it. I don't know what's going on with this phone, but we're gonna try it anyways. This is part 2 of honorable patience. So the most important reason why I wanted to share this message, and I want to get this out because I know that I may forget some of the channel, is, and then Spirit's telling me to say it with my chest because they feeling like I'm kind of like timid about it because it is the mother womb. And I've had such a tumultuous relationship with my mom. And I didn't know how bad it was until I actually started to healing myself and actually going through my self-awakening and coming into race of awareness with myself. I didn't have awareness of where we were at fully until I basically set in certain rates of revelation and things started to basically be illuminated. And yeah, it's important because when you're on your journey, when you get to the rate of healing your mother wound, you get to a soul charge. Your true, authentic expression lives at the root of who you are. And when you're dealing with your roots, you're dealing with your mother's bloodline, right? And some of us may not necessarily be able to sit at a rate with our physical mother because of whatever, karmic energy that's there. But even that is part of participation in it. The fact that that showed up is the sacred contract, which is a lot of what Isis kind of represents as sacred connections that come into cultivations, because you start to basically heed the call that is coming from the divine mother from within, which is your blood speaking to you, charging you with however it is that you meant to show up, whether your soul is encouraging you to show up in a rate of giving through healing trauma, by being the example, whether your soul is speaking to you at the rate of basically being that self-expression, which omits this certain rate of illumination by giving people a premise, a vision, a view of what it looks like to actually show up in whatever it is that they're desiring to express and expel. I don't know why I was going to say repel, but when you get to the rate of recognizing that this is something that you're doing, it becomes a thing where you stop apologizing for what was before. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for the confirmation. And you get to finally forgive yourself of what wasn't. A lot of the times we don't know that we're sitting at race of wanting to have certain expectancies from connections because we may feel like this is what it's supposed to do. One of the most beautiful things that I learned, and I had to learn this on my own, I learned it on my own. That's how the cards basically worked out for me. That a lot of the times the idea that we have of connections with certain people isn't our reality. So we're healing a lot of the times when you're facing that karmic rate that you may have, been conditioned in, that you may have grown up in, that you may be inevitably, carrying on because you aren't healing it, because you aren't addressing the patterns. A lot of the times it be because of the illusion that you haven't been cured from. You haven't allowed yourself to just say, this was my connection and I accept it for what it is because it was something that was there for me. You can't continue to go backwards wanting to correct the past while honoring what it is that you are cultivating and creating moving forward. It becomes this thing of wanting to constantly cut it off at the root, but you recognize that you will constantly be moving your ground. And when you can recognize that here we are, and sometimes it's scorched land, sometimes it's petrified land. Here we are in this space and we get to move forward. That's when Kali Ma comes in and she shows us in this radical rate of rebirth and transformation how we get to basically be bold and unapologetic by showing up in this, they're saying rather fascinating way. That's what I just heard. In this, rather fascinating way that is innately ours, but you had to clear away all of the gunk, all of that buildup, all of the resentment, all of that pain, and it be your heart. When you really can't hear your heart's expression, your mind gets to be in this rate of wanting to constantly be active, and which is a lot of the ego wanting to basically suit the need to cure the illusion, because you find the pockets and the holes in what isn't really accurate in reality, and you want to create this delusional expectancy of how things should have been versus being able to accept how they were. That frees you. It frees you. Oh my goodness, 522. It frees you. It creates change and major balance for you to be in the transformation and the transition that allows you to fully align to your soul on your journey in full embodiment of who it is that you truly are. It frees you. And for a lot of us, we desire to be sovereign in our being. We want to be able to connect to ourselves at a soul rate. Well, honorable patience allows you the ability to sit with oneself and be able to say, this was my experience. No, it may have not necessarily been something that I desired. Maybe this isn't something that I wanted to have. Maybe I would have liked, but I don't want to compare what I could have had with what I had, because then I may miss the lesson. Man, I may miss my bliss by wanting to amplify what other people could have chosen, how they could have decided. I get to release it. Nothing's owed to me here, right? And because I release the suspense of wanting to basically have somebody pay the debt, I now get to be free and clear of wanting to basically harbor on things that are owed to me. And what happens is you open up in a new way, and the divine gets to come into you, and you get to receive at a rate because you've cleared things away. And because you've cleared things away, you may now say, with my daughter, I want to do this. With my son, I want to do this. With my connection to the divine feminine energy, I want to be this type of sister. I want to be this type of friend. I want to be this type of woman when I show up. I want to be this type of auntie, so on and so forth. And even if it's not with your blood family, you still get to be at a rate to where you've chosen and you've decided. This is so base level, because there's so many different things with other people and their opinions that could be added on to it. Oh, well, you walked away from this and you can't do this. You're not really that good of a person, blah, 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 blah. When we get into it, right, I say blah, 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 because other people's opinion is their opinion. Sometimes people place their opinion on positions and people's rates of how they've cultivated in their healing, because they're still in that wounded space that you've already moved from. And a lot of the times when you move from something, a lot of the people who can't accept you moving from something that's actually better for you, that's the key right there. You be moving to a rate. Sometimes if you're truly, truly healing, you're healing and you're addressing these things, especially at the root of you, to become a better version of yourself, right? Anybody who has a problem with that are the people who you're probably more than likely healing from, you know? And it's okay. They get to be at whatever rate that they at. They get to not understand. They get to be able to speak on it, whatever. You could be whatever villain, victor, or I'm not going to be oppressed in any rate or stuck in any stagnancy that anybody would like to communicate. What we get to know now is that the divine mothers, you know, Sophia energy, the ancient mother, right, has awakened, and the mitochondria, which is your mother's line, is not dormant. It is something that has been speaking, and it is spoken for. And if you allow yourself to be at a rate of patience within you and just get into the position to where you say, I forgive you. You know, you did nothing wrong. I tell my clients, I come in peace, I leave in peace, and I only take what belongs to me. Right? Come to these agreements with yourself that allow you to get out of a rate of suspense and come to firm conclusions on what you know to be true. You get to honor yourself in rates of holding your hand and moving forward and creating new rates. And a lot of the times it releases the limits that have been present, because sometimes you can't move at the new thing because you may still be having those voices in your head that may have basically conditioned you to be safe with their ego, to not dream big with your ego, to not dream and be the things that's given to you at such an early rate. And we get to be beyond that point because we're being called to be bold and bodacious and vibrant in how we are showing up in this space. And it's really, really who we are. It's not just about picking the brightest thing and wearing the loudest thing or being the loudest one. It's about being truthful in who it is that you truly are to be. Peace.